Good evening and welcome to the Cyclone Hockey TV show presented by Pizza Pit. Tonight I have Jackson Grom, freshman forward from Fargo, North Dakota. Thanks for joining me tonight.
No problem.
So you came from Aberdeen in NAHL. How did you kind of wind up in Ames, Iowa, quite a distance from home?
Yeah, I knew from the start I kind of wanted to get out of the Fargo, North Dakota area. So I actually met a guy that my dad is friends with, and he kind of got me lined up with Coach Fairman and everything, so he kind of helped me with the recruiting process. So
now in the NAHL, it's a high level of junior hockey. What kind of experience can you bring? Did you bring from that level play then down here to college level?
Definitely the physicality. A lot of big guys in that league, and I'm not too big, so it kind of helped out with who you match up against and all that.
Yeah, like you said, you're not the biggest guy. How do you kind of use that maybe to your advantage, and how is it kind of a disadvantage at times, like with big guys like Cody and Thorne out on the team?
I think speed and just like kind of quickness helps out sometimes, but I don't know. They easily knock you around sometimes, but you can stay away from it. It's nice.
And you have 8 points in 24 games played. Early on, you kind of struggled to get into the lineup. What kind of changed midway through the first semester there, where you became an everyday player?
I think it's just at the beginning, it's more just confidence. Coming in, you don't really know what to expect, what kind of level it will be. So as soon as you got kind of a groove, it kind of worked out well.
And coming in as a freshman, the team was coming off a national championship run where they were runners-up. What was the expectation coming in? Were you expected to make an impact right away? And then how did you kind of transition to start on the team as you guys were preparing for another national championship run?
I think, coming off last year as a team, just for what I've heard, it was definitely a good run for the team. They expected big things this year. At first, I guess I wasn't really all there, but then once we got going, it kind of settled in, and so hopefully we can do it again.
Now I know you're kind of undersized, but you're physical. I've seen you get in a few fights. What kind of edge does that bring to your game? And then you have the side where you have the good hands too.
I think just a little bit of both is always good. You definitely don't want to just not. Got to stand your ground when you're smaller. You can't just let the guys push you around. So I think that's a big thing, big part of it.
In first semester, you guys started off hot, like we said earlier. You were up to #1 seed or ranking spot, and then you kind of dropped off around Thanksgiving break. What kind of happened there, going into Thanksgiving break and then winter break?
I feel like we might have just got a little comfortable as a team. It just shows you in this league that anybody can beat anyone. So the team that comes more prepared that any given night is usually the team that comes out on top.
Then going to the second semester, started off pretty hot, cooled off, and you guys swept #5 at the time, Robert Morris University, out of Chicago. What did that sweep mean to you guys going into the games against Linwood?
I think that was a big weekend for us. I think they only had maybe 4 losses before we came in, and 2 of them were previously to us. So I think that really boosted our confidence as a team just because they were ranked high, not too many losses.
Confidence-wise, what did it know you could win those 2 big games without the Uglin brothers who were at the World University Games, and then you guys also had a few guys out due to injury?
Once we get, I just think we just kind of had to step up to the occasion. All the guys had to. It'll definitely be a good thing once we get all of our team healthy and all the guys back. So I think we're pretty excited for that to happen.
And you guys were riding that confidence into Linwood, knowing you could, like I said, win without them. Then what kind of happened that first night where it was 5-0? You guys maybe weren't in the game, long bus ride. Can you kind of explain to us?
I just feel lately we've had a little trouble scoring, so I think the confidence has been a little down just because of that. But I feel like we got a great group of guys, so I feel like once we turn things around and get a little more confident with our scoring and everything, we should be great.
And then going into Saturday's game, it was 3-1, a little less scoring from both sides, or more scoring from your side. What kind of changed where you guys were able to get more shots on net that second game compared to the first game where you guys were limited to under 20 shots, I think?
Yeah, we definitely did not like the outcome of Friday night, so we knew coming into Saturday we had to step it up as a team. Like we still didn't get the outcome that we wanted, but it was better. And we swept them at the beginning of the year, so we know we can play with them and beat them.
Yeah, even on the season, 2-2 for the series. And then Friday night, Derek Moser started. Then Matt Gedeke came on in relief. Then Matt Gedeke started Saturday. What does that kind of tell the team? You know, you can have one goalie not have his best night, and then the next goalie come in the next night and have a better performance?
It's definitely good as a team to know we got two goalies that can play night in and night out, so it doesn't really matter who we're starting because we're all going to play the same. And
Yeah. And then this weekend you guys will be playing Utah, new to ACHA D1. What's kind of the thought on that team? Maybe like an Alabama team you guys played first semester.
I think we're definitely not going to take them lightly. We talked about it today at practice, actually. They actually just beat Jamestown, who we have been 0-3 against this year. So I think we're not going to take them lightly. We're going to come in as like we'd be playing like a Robert Morris or something.
You can't take them lightly, but you also kind of have to almost look past them in sorts for the Ohio games the next weekend. Ohio currently ranked number 2, I believe, in the new rankings, or 3. What's the demeanor in the locker room looking ahead at Ohio, who you guys have had some struggles with in the past few years?
I guess we're not really looking that far ahead right now. We're just kind of taking one piece at a time. We're trying to get our team back on track at where we want to be, or where we were at the beginning of the year. So this is a big weekend for us, so a sweep would be great, and I think that would really boost our confidence for going into the Ohio weekend, who is a good team.
Then following the Utah weekend and then the Ohio weekend, you guys go into the CSCHL playoffs. Now all 5 teams are ranked in the top 15, 20 in the ACHA D1 rankings. What can that playoff experience with those top-ranked teams help you guys with at nationals? Will you be playing teams like that every game?
Well, we definitely have a really good division, so we've kind of been prepared for playoffs. Our division has helped us prepare for the playoffs like all year long, so I think that's good. Other teams play lighter, or teams that aren't ranked as high, so it's nice to have a good schedule off the whole year.
And then I know I kind of asked a little bit ago, the demeanor in the locker room, but what's the demeanor in the locker room, kind of riding the roller coaster of the highs and lows, not knowing what team will show up, but when you guys have the right team, what's kind of the mood on the ice?
When we're going, we definitely know we're going. As a group, we know when we're not playing to our potential, and we know when we are. So it's definitely a confidence booster when we are, and I think we'll bring that into this weekend, into the rest of the season.
Well, like you said, it's a confidence booster, and the D1 team was in a similar situation last year while you weren't on it, but what have those guys kind of told you going into the national tournament? You don't have to be top 5, but you can be a little outside of it and still make that run.
Yeah. Well, then I guess the first thing is you just got to get in.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be there, and once we get going, I think we'll all be on track and ready to go for it.
Well, thank you for joining me tonight.
Thank you.
Here's some highlights from the 2017 portion of the season. Ferguson and Mary Rominger with me tonight. So we'll start off kind of discussing the Lindenwood games this past weekend. Now they're riding the high after they swept Robert Morris. What kind of happened going to those games?
Yeah, going into Lindenwood, I think they did have a lot of confidence with having swept Robert Morris because that was such a huge possible turning point to their season. But then, they got swept in the first game 5-0 and then the second game 3-1, which is pretty detrimental this late in the season. But I would say the most important takeaway from that Lindenwood matchup was being outshot 40 to 18. And that shows a big issue in regards to effort, and that is a problem that must be addressed moving forward.
Now that second game, they brought a little more effort, and they still lost 3-1, but they outshot Lindenwood, and their goalie was just having a hot night. What does that kind of show they can bounce back and play that more competitive game the second night after a disappointing first game?
Yeah, I think it's important that they did outshoot them 42-29 in the second night, but you can't have those nights where you don't put forth effort consistently this late in the season. I mean, it does say a lot that they were able to kind of bounce back from that in a way, but there's no excuse for the first game. It's just too late in the season for that, and it's too close to the tournament.
Now, Connor, do you kind of think maybe not having the Uglin brothers kind of hurt them? Or, because they did win the past weekend without them.
Yeah, they got the big win against Robert Morris and then couldn't get it done against Lindenwood. I think Coach Fairman has shuffled the lines enough that they're kind of interchangeable at this point, and so I don't think it hurt that much, but getting them back is a big help this weekend against Utah.
Now, Derek Moser started the first night, and Matt Gacke started the second night. What do you think the plan is going into the playoffs where they've been alternating these goalies all season?
I have no idea. I was talking to Fairman yesterday. I was like, is there any chance you give me anything on who's starting Friday? He says, well, you're going to have to come down and find out. And at this point, it's a curveball, and I have no clue. Coin flip. I think Gedeke might get it against Utah, and then maybe Moser takes over after that. We'll see.
It was also the same situation last year, and it ended up working out for them where they made the deep run at the national tournament. Now, like you said, this weekend they have Utah, new to the D1 level. What do you think the expectations are? Kind of like a Alabama team they played earlier in the year, but Utah did just beat Jamestown.
They did get that big one against Jamestown, and I think you really need to watch that tape and see what that game was like, because Jamestown swept Iowa State this year in 3 attempts. But coming in, Aero Holano told me earlier this week they can't lose another game if they want to win the championship, and that's kind of what's expected. You got to sweep this weekend.
And Mary, do you kind of think it's a rebound weekend where they can maybe put up 2 big scores going into the Ohio weekend and possibly sweep Ohio and go into the playoffs riding a high note?
I hope it's a rebound weekend, but Ohio is now ranked number 19, which in my eyes that shows me that they need to take advantage of this team and sweep them. And I think going into Utah, these 2 are obviously must-wins. Everyone knows that. But the following week, you're facing a number 2 Ohio University. And with that, you need to be coming off 2 wins regardless.
And they have struggled against Ohio the past few years. But then you look ahead to the CSCHL playoffs where all 5 teams are really good teams. What will that help them playing maybe all 5 teams or all 3 teams to get to the championship, or 2, depending on their seed, help them going into the national tournament knowing they can win against those quality teams in a do-or-die situation?
Yeah, I think it's huge. It shows that they are capable. They do have a pretty stacked lineup. They have the skill. That whole squad has complete capability of doing great things, but it's just a matter of what they're going to put forth. So, yeah, I think they've done it in the past, and they are capable of doing so.
Now, Minot State, Ohio, and Adrian are the top 3 teams, respectively, in that order, and they've lost 7 games combined this year. Do you think they're kind of unstoppable?
From last year, absolutely not. Because Iowa State knocked off Minot in the quarterfinals last year, and that's what really got their playoff runs or their championship run started. They were able to take care of Stony Brook after that, and then ultimately lost to Lindenwood. But coming out of the CSCHL, you're going to see Ohio, so you're going to get kind of a glimpse of what it's going to look like, and I think they can definitely build off it and make another run this year.
Now, the bottom half of the rankings have shuffled quite a bit, and UM Dearborn has jumped in the top 10. Do you think they're kind of a sleeper team?
I don't want to say so. I think yes, it's making a statement by going up to number 7 in the rankings. But with the way that the rankings are, I wouldn't say that they're going to make a huge presence. I don't know. It's possible. I mean, Iowa State was the underdog last year and obviously did make a big statement. So I think kind of everyone right now is has capable of being really good. So I don't know if they got good at the right time.
Yeah, well, that Michigan team did lose to Ohio 8-1 early in the year, but they do play Minot State this weekend, so maybe that could be a statement weekend for themselves.
Absolutely.
Like Iowa State could have a statement weekend in 2 weeks against Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going back to that Utah team, what do you kind of expect as the outcome, where they haven't really played similar opponents as much as other teams?
Yeah, I looked at Utah's schedule. They haven't played anyone to the caliber of Cyclone hockey aside from Jamestown. And they did get Jamestown one of the 2 or 4 times they played them, I don't know. But Utah's a sleeper team, just like you said Dearborn was. So I think you definitely have to be weary of an upset, but you got to expect a sweep.
Now, with the World University Games over and the Uglin brothers hopefully possibly being back this weekend, what can that help a full-strength Iowa State team do?
Yeah, it'll be huge. I mean, they did show that they were capable of doing so without them, but, you know, you can't just look at the numbers and say, okay, they're capable of being without the Uglin brothers, and that's huge. Not necessarily, because they did find themselves struggling again, and maybe they need that veteran support back there to really lift them over Utah and then Ohio University.
So Utah's kind of a toss-up. What do you guys think will happen this weekend score-wise?
I think Iowa State has shown that when they do play teams of a lower caliber, they really dominate, and they did so against teams like Alabama and so on. So I expect a pretty good offensive game from Iowa State this weekend.
And what do you think, Connor?
I partially agree. I know Iowa State did get swept, I think, by Missouri State on the road earlier this year. So it's kind of a trap game like that. You can't go in too confident, or you're going to walk out with a couple losses.
Well, looking at the rebound, Iowa State D1 team will be on the ice against the Utah Utes this weekend, Friday and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. in Ames. As always, thank you for watching the Cyclone Hockey TV show presented by Pizza Pit.